Hello, this is David Wolfskehl, and I'm here along with Phil Whitman, and we are the leadership team of Whitman Business Advisors. And we're going to share some stories about our top 10 merger etiquette issues today. And although all these things might seem like common sense, these are all issues that we observe too often, and they are deal killers. So, Phil, why don't you kick us off with a story or two about some etiquette issues?
Thank you, David. And merger etiquette is so important. In facilitating well over 1,000 meetings, there's almost nothing we haven't seen. But first and foremost, and the reason it's number one on the list, is don't be late. Being late shows total disrespect. I always say, show up a half an hour early, or at the very least 15 minutes early. Enjoy a cup of coffee in the reception area, but definitely be on time. We had a situation once where David and I were sitting with a managing partner, and we waited for well over an hour. And despite our sending emails and text messages and trying to make a phone call to see whether or not these two partners would be joining us, we didn't get an email back. We didn't get a text message. And they just showed up and didn't even really give an excuse for being late. Don't be late.
And this firm, once in a while will call me and say, we really like that firm that we were an hour late for. What's going on? And that deal died with their disrespect. And they don't necessarily even see it or see the importance of it. Why don't you talk about smartphones in meetings? Because we see everything from none to somebody just sitting on that smartphone. So why don't you share some thoughts around that, Phil?
Simple piece of advice. Unless your wife is pregnant or your granddaughter's pregnant or someone has a serious health issue, leave that cell phone in your pocket. And I would say there's only one appropriate time to take it out. And that's if you look down at number 10, and that's leave with next steps. When it's time to look at the calendar, should you find that there was sufficient chemistry and everyone says, yeah, we should meet again, that's the only time you should pull out your cell phone and silence it.
I want to share about bad-mouthing people. I'm really surprised sometimes where people will badmouth. Sometimes it's internal partners, which is shocking to me. Sometimes it's just other people within the industry. And again, the person who you're badmouthing to sometimes thinks about, well, when are they going to badmouth me? When are they going to say something bad about my firm? And so this should be a positive meeting. There's no reason to badmouth anybody.
David, along those lines, about not bad mouthing, and we always say, as in item 6, treat the meeting like you would as if it were a prospective client that you're looking to win. I mean, you're going to show up on time. You're going to dress appropriately. Why don't you share that story about the guy who came with a crumpled, rumpled T-shirt that it looked like he pulled out of a hamper?
Yeah, it was shocking that this person's a partner in this firm, multi-million-dollar firm. He shows up to this meeting, and I swear to God, he pulled a shirt out of the hamper that morning. So it's your dress, it's your attitude. These meetings are important, and in fact, I would say that a merger meeting, if successful, will have a bigger impact on your future than any prospect meeting. And yet, too often, people don't consider those merger meetings at the same level as a prospect meeting. So, Phil, why don't you talk about fighting with partners before we wrap up? Why don't you share a story about that?
Yes, absolutely. So, we've been in meetings where a question is asked and one partner will answer the question. And then one or more partners at the table openly disagree and an argument ensues. Now, let me ask you this. If partners aren't in alignment and at a first date, they're arguing with one another, do you think that anyone is going to want to take that to a number two meeting? I hardly think so.
And I think, Phil, you made a wonderful point. This is in many ways a first date. You want to make your best first impression that you can. Now, you might decide that this is not worth moving forward, but you want to have that ability to decide whether it should go to a second meeting, not just blow it and not have that opportunity. So, Phil, I know that one of these is know your story and know your numbers. Why don't you share with our audience how we help some firms with knowing your story and knowing your numbers?
Yeah, absolutely. And this sort of dovetails very well with the last thing, no fighting with your partners. If you know your story and you know your numbers, and everyone is alignment with one another, you'll have a great meeting. So David and I were fortunate to have met with a group, it was a group of 8 or 10 partners. Now, when we met with them, they had meetings with almost every firm, that they could possibly meet with, and absolutely violated almost every one of these 10 merger etiquette issues. David and I went in and just, in a first meeting, seeing the way we interacted with them, we immediately began coaching them, and we helped them tell their story and know their numbers. We actually encouraged one of the partners to become the firm's historian, to give the timeline of everything that happened with the firm. And another partner was made the finance partner, who talked all about the numbers. And then we made one of the other partners the futurist and the vision, who told the story why they were at the table. And we actually had them put together a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation that was printed out. And at the top of every page was a little photo of the person who was going to be doing the speaking. They didn't jump all over one another. They told a concise story. They looked very organized and aligned. And something that we do is help people get ready for these extremely, extremely important meetings. Your future is so important, and the investment to do it right can make a world of a difference.
So this is David Wolfskehl along with Phil Whitman. And remember, act like this is important because it is. Don't let little things kill your deal. Thank you very much, Phil.
Thank you, David.